Hey, sign folk, welcome back. This is Sean the Sign Guy. I know it's been a minute. Um, Last live mentioned that we were going on vacation. We were gone for a week. Got back. Unfortunately, I tested positive for COVID coming off the ship. Felt like crap for the last 2 weeks. There was a couple days that it was a little rough, but I survived. Um, And so I'm back in the shop. We're pretty much 100 miles an hour, wide open, trying to get projects done. So when we stepped off the plane, I had a phone call from one of my buddies, one of my colleagues, I guess. And anyone that knows me that I'm talking, I mean, you can see this up here. So I'm a big bass fishing guy. I love to fish. I love being out on the water. And one of the fun things about living where we live on Lake Hartwell in Anderson, South Carolina. And if anyone knows anything about fishing and bass fishing, today is March 1st. So in 3 days, there will be a new Bassmaster Classic champion. So the beauty of being here is that I get to volunteer for a lot of these events. I know a lot of the guys, they kind of let us kind of meander. We pick up the anglers and just get a lot of backstage access to really, really cool stuff. And again, it is volunteer. But in my dealings, they found out that I do signs. I don't normally promote it like that because, again, we typically do stuff that's online, and I don't. It's hard when someone comes to me and says, "Hey, I need a job," and anywho. So I'm going to flip over and I'm going to show you what I'm working on right here. So this is the new Green Pond Landing. This is the amphitheater. This is the new pad, what they call it. This is out to the water. And so there's a lot of vendors and bass memorabilia and people set up over there. So the county has asked if I could do a big graphic of the Green Pond Landing logo. And of course I said, sure. So that's what I'm doing today. Today is Tuesday. This graphic needs to be installed by Thursday. The Classic doesn't technically kick off until Friday, Saturday. But I basically have about 24 hours to get this thing printed, outgassed, and then I have to install it on Thursday morning before the Classic on Friday. I don't have a lot of time to do this, but I wanted to kind of give you a rundown, let you know what material that I'm using, and that was that was a struggle in itself. Tried to find the material in the short amount of time that I had this. I've only had 24 hours since I got the green light to do this. We've been going back and forth with graphics and tweaks and revisions and sizes and adding this and taking that, but I finally got the size carved in stone and I nailed down some material. I had to call Piedmont Plastics. They didn't have anything. I ended up calling Tube Light. They didn't have anything. Fellers didn't have anything that was in budget. So I ended up going through Grimco, and this is the material here. So this is their, it's the Brightline 14 mil removable adhesive texture grip. This is the Brightline multi-grip material. And so this project is a temporary type project. This isn't a long-term. I know that there's better product out there. The aluminum stuff is going to last a lot longer. But given the nature of this project, it technically only has to last until Sunday afternoon, I think, when everything is pretty much said and done. And if it lasts longer than that, then everyone's going to be happy. Without further ado, I'm going to flip back over here. I've got my graphic here in Flexi. I got on my panel set. I need to readjust these panels to try to utilize as much material as I can. One factor that came into all this is because when I gave pricing, it was based on a certain amount of square footage. So this was 237 inches by 237 inches, roughly 20 feet, a little shy of 20 feet. And that 237 times 237 was 390 square feet. So trying to find just enough material to to run this job was a feat in itself. I either had to buy 54 by 150s or I had to buy 48 by 82s or whatever it is. So I hope this material, so 48 by 100, this is actually 400 square feet, and I have 10 square feet to kind of play with. Not to play with. Hopefully I don't screw it up. So all of my panels are kind of set here. And as I was reading the manufacturer's recommendations, generally anytime that I do like panel wise like this, I always overlap about an inch. From what I'm reading, you don't do that with this material. You want to cut it straight and you want to butt it to each other so that there's no lip or anything like that to kind of get caught on. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's what they're saying, and that's what I'm going to end up doing. So this is my graphic. I'm going to end up printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels. And something else that I haven't done in a long time, I've got my take-up reel that I have to kick the dust off of, put a tube in, and I'm actually going to utilize that. So hopefully I can run this whole roll and transfer it from that to the tube. I'm going to have to lay it out on the table, trim certain elements to get it ready for installation on Thursday. So I'm going to go through all that. I'm going to film some of the print, not a lot of it, but it's probably going to be more of the installation part, more so, and any hiccups that like come along the way here. So hopefully you guys stick with me. Again, my name's Sean the Sign Guy. If this is your first time here, thank you for watching. If you are a subscriber, thank you for tuning back in. And if this is your first time watching and my videos interest you, please do me a favor, smash the like button and give me a good subscribe. Like I said, I'm just begging for subscribers right now. So anything I can do within reason, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out. So without further ado, let me get this pony show started. Okay, so here's my initial first impression about this material. Years and years ago, I used to use this stuff called Pano walk and wall. And this stuff resembles it almost to a T, obviously with Grimco Brightline. It's just under another name. It's the same woven type material. As you can see, back there you can see the fibers in it. Which makes it strong, which should make it a lot easier to install because it won't stretch. The liner is, I don't know, it's probably like a 50-pound liner, like a 50, 60-pound. It's not as thick as Substance, but it should work out pretty good. That's my initial thought here, and we need to do a print sample, get this loaded up, get it going. Media is loaded. What is the width? 48 and 4/32. So let me scoot this back a little bit because I'm going to do a little bit of a test print just to be on the safe side. Because of the nature of this, let me show you kind of where I'm at here. Let me hit this is done. Okay, so here is my Flexi ink estimation, estimation, whatever. Okay, fine, whatever. So as you can see here, and this is a screenshot because this took forever for Flexi to figure this out. But it tells me exactly how much cyan, magenta, yellow, and black that I'm using, and then the total amount of milliliters, and it gives me a total cost of, this is just for the ink cost. And then this is actually printing with my 540-720, my typical banner profile. This is the fastest profile, the fastest printing profile that I have with good quality results. With it doesn't put down a ton of ink, but it should look fine. So I'm going to do a little test print just to make sure Yeah, so I wanted to show you guys that. So this is my ink cost for printing something 20 foot by 20 foot. And that's basically the graphic, which is probably 85, 90% black. And again, my black is RGB. They gave me spot colors for these, and I transferred them over to RGB colors. So I want to do a test print to make sure that the colors are going to turn out pretty close. So next thing I need to do is do a test print, make sure that looks okay, and start sending the whole thing down the line. Test print number 1, drum roll please. I'm kidding. Yeah, I think it'll fly. The black is not super duper rich, but that is just the nature of the matte material. Not really much I can do about it. So I think it's a go. So before I go, one thing that's pretty crucial is I need to set up my take-up roll and get that figured. Luckily I got me a spare tube here. I haven't done this in years. This one's kind of wonky the way that you have to feed it, but yeah, it's good enough. Make sure all these suckers are tightened down. Make sure it's still plugged in. We got set, pretty much ready to go. Okay, so now I had to do some fancy guesstimating here. So my material is 48.108 inches wide. That's what the printer scanned. That's originally what was in Flexi when that was originally up here in my general tabs of my panel width. I have mine set to 47.5 because, so I printed this full bar at 48.106 wide, and it condensed it because I have my gutter set up and I'm not going to print exactly to the edges. So the width of this bar is roughly 47.5 inches. And in order to set my panels correctly, so I make sure that this turns out correctly, is when I went into Flexi and I set my panel size, or my media width is at exactly 47.5 inches wide. Because when you go to your panels and you see all these panels here, I need to make sure that I have enough material. And I know that there's going to be a little bit of skewing. I'm going to try to run this in one roll, one shot, so I don't have to unload the material, but we'll see how that kind of plays out. So the first thing that I like to do when I do oversized stuff like this is when you go up to your panel tab, and that's where I'm at right here. So this is your panel tab, and so Flexi determines that this is the overall size, 235 inches by 235 inches. And I know at the beginning of this video I said 237, but because of the limited amount of material that I have available, I had to shrink this down to make sure that I only did 5 panels to make sure that it all fit on the media. So 2 inches, I don't know, whatever. It's going to have to work. So my panels are set at 47.5, and the first thing that I'm going to do is let Flexi lay all this out. And so it spaced the panels evenly at 47.5, and I know I'm going to have to trim once this is printed. What I'm doing to conserve material, so if you're in the panel and you right click on these panels, it grays them out. When you gray them out, it's not going to print. But to conserve material, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this little tab, and you see with this box, this whole panel, it's going to print that white area. So I don't want to print that white area, top or bottom. So I'm going to scoot this up as high as I can, and the same thing with the top. I'm going to do the same thing, and it'll give me an extra, I don't know, foot or two. Take your magnifying glass and make sure that you're not cutting that edge off, which looks good. Let me go down here Make sure I'm doing the same thing here on this side. Yep, so you make sure that you're not gonna clip any of that stuff. So that's gonna be my first panel. I'm gonna go ahead and rip that. And go. There we go. Okay, so that's my first panel. That's what I'm going to print first. Then I'm going to crop this out, and then I'll go to the second one. But I'm going to take these tabs and I'm going to pull them back up so that it prints that whole area. But for now, we're going to start with this one. Fingers crossed, Hail Mary, and here we go. Printing. And printing. And printing. And printing. Nothing like running out of ink. Good thing we've got some extras. This is number 3. Each one of these panels takes me approximately an hour to print, a little bit less. I can do the numbers after I'm completely done, but so far, this is the start of panel number 3, and it's about 8 o'clock, so about 9 o'clock I should be done with this one. Panel number 4, still printing. That much printed, that much to go. So as I'm on panel number 4, you can see that my margin went to basically nothing. It went from a 1/4 inch down to about 1/8, maybe a little bit less than that. So at the end of this panel, hopefully it gets through and it doesn't run off. I'm going to have to cut it off, recenter it, and start with panel number 5. Alright, here we go. Panel number 5. In the works now. Okay, that's a wrap. 390 square feet. I started printing this file. Started printing at 6:30. It's now 10 o'clock. So, with that being said, good night. I'm going to trim all this stuff up tomorrow, and then I'm going to get ready for the install on Thursday. So, good night. All right, so I think my next step with, I'm going, because I have the 5 panels, I'm actually going to lay these out as best as I can. This is probably the shortest piece. Thankfully, my table is 13, 14 feet long, and the material width is only 48 inches, so it'll actually fit pretty good. What I'm thinking is, obviously this is the outside, so that's all going to get cut, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave about a 1/2 inch up top there, and I'm going to put this piece down, and then the next piece I'm actually going to overlap, just because I don't know if I can get a perfectly straight line to cut and butt them together. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but I'll keep you all posted. So yeah, now I have to do all the beautiful trimming on this, which will take me a little bit. All right, guys, so I'm out here on site. There's a lot going on. I'm gonna swing around here. You can see kind of, there's Lake Hartwell, Bassmaster, and all that other good stuff. So I'm kind of focused on this. So pretty much got my lines squared up. Got my center point. Hard to see down in there. See that little string there? It's hard to tell. So I'm gonna start laying this stuff out. I'm gonna roll the GoPro, kind of do a time lapse of this. I don't know how it's gonna go, but wish me luck. All right, guys, so here I am putting down the first panel. You can see that there's some blue tape lines. That's actually a string to keep my center line. That first panel was key to getting everything else straight on, I guess, the viewing angle from the amphitheater there. And you can see in the second panel, this is where I had problems. That left side, the adhesive grabbed itself and it just would not let go. It almost ended up in a ball. It actually looked like a ball of lettuce. Thanks to Luke that came over and gave me a hand there. So we're trying to tug and pull and get everything situated. The downfall is the material stretched a little bit too much, and the alignment for the other panel wasn't key on. It was off about a ½ inch on that right hand side. That's what I was doing right there. There's the third panel, and obviously we had some DNR guys come over and give us some extra hands and feet, just so I wouldn't pull the material and knock it out of alignment from where it needed to be. But essentially we just followed the guide of the previous panel when we put down, and it actually went pretty smooth from here on out, now that we had some extra hands and I wasn't trying to be the hero of I can do it all myself, because without them, this thing might have ended up in the garbage, because it was bad. And not to say that I'm perfect. Hey, we all make mistakes, and like I said, I'm not afraid to ask for help when I need it. Yeah, and not to mention my knees and legs were killing me the next day. I'm not used to being on the concrete like this, especially rolling around like a 2-year-old. Last panel going down. And this one actually went okay, just because of the nature of the arch was kind of difficult to get down and line up. But again, there was Luke looking in the old GoPro there. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. And here is the final product, the legendary Green Pond Landing in Anderson, South Carolina, on beautiful Lake Hartwell. The customer was really happy with it. I think it exceeded their expectations. So maybe we'll do another one sometime. Okay, everyone, so this is my wrap up. So hopefully this video is about done. There was a lot that went into it. It was a new product for me, so I'm trying to give you all as much information as I possibly can. So again, the material was the Bright Line. It was called DuraGrip. And I think on the website, they said it was 14 mils. There's no way that it's 14 mils. I would say it's closer to a 6 to 8 mil type film. In any kind of comparison, I would say that it compares to the Pano Walk and Wall. From what I remember working with that material, the Brightline material seemed almost identical. And the thing that I like about it is that it came in 100-foot rolls instead of 82-foot rolls. Now that may be good or bad, but as far as a cost comparison, I think I was at $1.60 per square foot from Grimco for the DuraGrip. And the Pano was a little bit cheaper. It was $133 a square foot, but again, 48 by 82 versus the 48 by 100 that Grimco offers. Just kind of fit this project a little bit better. It helped me, I guess, utilize all the material, because I'm not going to have this stuff sit. This was a specific job with a specific purpose, and I didn't want to overbuy media. So, but I have a little piece here in my hand. And so, again, I know I showed that before, but they claim that it was 14 mils. And as you can see, the thickness there, I'm trying to keep it zoomed in here, it's about, I would say it's about 6 to 8 mils thick. Now, there was a part in the video, when I'm going to talk about adhesive here for a second. So there was a part in the video I was on, so I did the bottom portion of the graphic, and because I'm not really going to voice over any of this stuff, because I don't really think that it's relevant, but I am going to point out that on the second panel coming up, there was a gentleman there. So I had a lot of I guess options, or people were willing to help me, but I was too stubborn, and I was like, no, I got this, I know what I'm doing. Anyways, so there was, after the first panel was down and I was trying to get everything laid out, I had the panel taped down, and I pulled back probably about 3 to 4 feet of liner when I was getting ready to apply the graphic, and I only used blue painter's tape to hold this, to hold the material and to hold it down to the existing material, and I was also using it to hold on the concrete, which held fine until the gust of wind came. The gust of wind came, and basically because I was holding the media up, and I'm sorry that I can't go back. Maybe I'll put the picture in here. Where it started going south really, really quick. So essentially the wind blew, it released the tape, and essentially that material on that side looked like a ball of lettuce. I was so pissed off at myself. Needless to say, a bunch of guys jumped in. They helped me out. I was extremely frustrated at that point because, again, I didn't have enough material to reprint any of this stuff. So it was like a one and done kind of deal. But again, in a nutshell, it was a great opportunity for a huge event. And I was very honored and humbled to be a part of this with the rest of the people. There's so much stuff that goes involved in this stuff. And I used to say, that these guys that do these graphics for these big events and these work, I'm like, I would love to do something like that one time. But so I've been there, done that. But the material seems to be holding up okay. Because it was not a laminated type of material, I'm not really sure how long that it's really going to last. But as far as I know, it held down. There were thousands and thousands of people. The first day, I believe there was 2,400, and I knew that the crowd actually grew. So I know that the crowds got bigger and bigger each day. So it was a 3-day event. And so there were 2,400 people there the first day, not including all the other personnel and volunteers. The second day, I don't know. I don't have the exact numbers, but there are a lot of people that went across that thing. From what I can understand, everyone was happy. Everyone was thrilled. Needless to say, it was a decent product that I'd probably use it again. It was within budget. I got it relatively quick. It was handy. It was just one of those things that I was able to obtain and actually use. The customer was happy. And so with that being said, I apologize that it was a long video, but I appreciate you all sticking with me. And again, thank you all so much for watching my content. Thank you all so much for subscribing and liking the videos. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, leave them down in the comments, or reach out to me directly, icandysigns@gmail.com, and I'll be sure to get back with you as soon as I can. And until then, you all take care and happy sign making. Okay, guys, so I also want to give a huge shout out to the one that does not want to be named, but we'll just call him Alan. Although I've never met him, he's right up the road. And I swear, Alan, we're going to do Taco Tuesday one of these days. This project was way too big for me to handle by myself. Alan is a wholesale printer, and I reached out to him when this project was supposed to be 1,200 square feet. And obviously, my little Muto wouldn't, it would hate me by the end of that run, and I just didn't have the time to do it. But through the beauty of the internet and through all the contacts that I've made with this channel, and I appreciate each and every one of you reaching out to me. I've met some fabulous people that I'm not afraid to ask for help if need be. And he was one of those people that I reached out to that said, hey, bring it on, let's do it. But it didn't go that route. And sometimes I hate putting people in those kind of situations because I'm being pushed. There's a certain deadline. So anyways, I didn't get to work with Alan on this one, but hopefully in some of the upcoming videos, we can reach out. Maybe, we'll figure something out. But again, like I said, without people like you, like I said, I'm not sure where I'd be or how all this would pan out. So thank you all again. Okay, so the story isn't done yet. It's always something. Let me show you something. So I get a text not so long ago about a semi going across the material, and it ended up tearing all of this stuff. It actually just ripped the material. You can see where it's come up off the edges. Like I said, they kind of doctored it a little bit as best as they can. The problem was I was supposed to replace this top panel. You can see where it's seamed right here. The problem is this is Jason Christie's signature from the 2022 Classic Champion. You can see this is my seam. So we're trying to assess the damage and trying to figure out the best way to go about doing this. You know, my thought process is if this material can withstand a semi, I mean, driving on it. It drove across it. The problem was when it turned. And when it turned, that's when it caught and stretched the material to the point where I don't know if it can be fixed. Because as you can tell, it's raining. And this is not the ideal conditions for trying to fix this. So I'll continue the story. I'll update you guys with what's happening and what's going on. So that's kind of, I don't even know if it's a happy ending because yeah, looks like something's going to have to get replaced or fixed here, and this stuff isn't even 5 days old. So it's not technically my fault. It's not the material's fault. I think it did really good under the circumstances. I mean, you got a semi that's going across this thing. And so again, it's got some scratches and some scuffs, but you can see the tire marks and the wrinkling when it went across from the weight. So if this is an indication of, you know, the type of material that we're dealing with, so, you know, you kind of do your own assessment. That's like, you know, that's like way beyond the expectations of, you know, your material, and it's not really a permanent solution. So it's raining pretty heavy. I'm going to get out of here, and I think that's going to wrap this video up. I appreciate you watching, being subscribed, tuning in, and do me a favor. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And until the next time, see you, sign folk.